for watching the premiere episode of The Gigi Show, and I'm your host, Gigi Seon. Today I am in Sayreville, New Jersey, and I am so excited to be here. My first guest on the show is a breast cancer survivor, and she has such an amazing and inspiring story, and she's going to be sharing her story with us today. She raised awareness on breast cancer through her foundation called Pink for Africa. She's also a celebrity hairstylist and entrepreneur. Thank you so much for joining us on the show today, Mrs. Juliette Mills-Lutterodt.
A lot to pronounce. I'm very, very good. Thank you.
All right.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Yes.
Thanks for having me.
Beautiful dress, by the way. You look
Thank
gorgeous.
You. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So as I mentioned earlier, you are a celebrity hairstylist, and you own 2 salons, right?
Yes.
Okay. You're an entrepreneur, you're a wife, a mother, a sister, and a breast cancer survivor.
Yes.
So when the doctor had first broke the news to you that you have breast cancer, like what were one of the things that were going through your head?
Well, I think that for most women, for me, my entire family flashed in front of my face, because you often, when you hear the word cancer, you see death. Bottom line, you think that you might not be the one who would survive. So I think that the importance of hearing those words is also a constant reminder today, the importance of appreciating life and living to the fullest. So yeah, my entire family flashed literally in front of my eyes, and what I haven't done, or what I'm yet to accomplish, you know, being a mother, being the first on my list, and everything else following after that.
Okay, wow. So how did your family, friends, especially your husband, how did they take it?
I think that, yeah, I think that everybody takes, you know, news like that differently. When my doctor told me about my disease in terms of the breast cancer, I think I had the flu that day very badly, and I'd gone to see him to get the results. And I drove home. I don't even know how I drove home, but I drove home and went straight to bed. My husband was on a business trip, and when he came back, that was when I told him. I didn't want to tell him while he was away. But I think that everybody takes it very differently. I think that of all my children, I have 3 boys, and I think that my middle child took it the hardest, because he's the most emotional child. So I think everybody takes it differently. My husband it didn't affect my husband till 3 years later.
Wow, 3 years.
Yes. So everybody takes it differently, because it's such a process to go through, from when you're diagnosed to when you go through all your treatments and what have you, until you're beginning to feel you are yourself again. So, and you're never the same. You're changed for the better, actually, because you appreciate everything so much more.
Wow. Were there times where you felt like giving up?
Absolutely, with every human being. You know, you're knocked down, but I've never been the kind of person to give up on anything. You know, so I remember, I've shared this story many times. I remember waking up. I never wanted to break down in front of my family, because they see me as one of the strong people in the family. So I remember there'll be times when I would wake up in the middle of the night and come and sit right there and have a talk with God. And if I felt a sense of anything with giving up, that feeling is almost a guest that visits you. It visits your mind, it visits your spirit, it visits your soul. I'll literally open the door and say, you gotta leave, you don't belong here. And I'll physically put myself through that. And that would allow me to slam that door and know that it's gone, it's not here anymore. So within yourself, I think that you have your own fears, and then everybody else around you, it's a process for everybody as well. Because if you're somebody who is a happy-go-lucky person, it can easily consume you. You know?
So you had a strong belief in God, and it's basically your faith is what had healed you from your sickness.
Absolutely. It's part of what healed me. It wasn't the only thing, but it's definitely part and a huge part, because, you know, I feel in order for your body to even take in the medication that's being given to you, if you are not feeling good yourself, your body doesn't heal properly. So for me, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, was all tied together for me.
So if you can briefly describe your process, like the process.
Majority of women go through the same process when you're diagnosed. You know, for me, I turned 40 my doctor said, it's time for your mammogram. I'd never done a mammogram before. I remember standing in the hair salon working and making jokes that I can't believe I'm 40. I'm so old, I have to go get a mammogram.
Yeah.
And I pushed it off because I kept thinking, I'm too busy. Eventually went in. So you go in for your mammogram, you get called back if there is any tissue that's not clearly seen through. Okay. And then once they call you back, you may do, most of the time you do an ultrasound to see a better clarity.
Okay.
I got called back for the ultrasound and then again for an MRI. So the MRI became a much clearer vision to what's going on. And luckily for me, my breast cancer was caught at a very early stage. Okay. It was caught by the MRI, so the doctors did not even feel the lump. So it wasn't anything that the doctors would have known. Okay. And the mammogram did not feel it. It just saw that there was a dense tissue, couldn't see through. So once I went in for the MRI, then the next stage was, okay, the MRI is showing something, we need to do a biopsy. Wow. So at that point you go in, and because it was the MRI that detected my nodule, the MRI had to be the one to do the biopsy because a doctor couldn't do the biopsy. So then we went through that, and then the test came back that it was positive. Yeah.
So like when is the best time to, how and when is the best time to get checked?
I think that, self-examination is key for us women, because I think that knowing your body, and that's what Pink for Africa is about, is about educating every young girl from 12 years old. And I'm starting from 12 because it's so important for you as you're going through puberty to learn about your body, and hopefully that extends to the other areas of your body, not just your breast. But it's very important for you to know how to check your breast, when to check your breast, which is 1 week after your period. Okay. Never before, because your breast develops cyst and all stuff goes on before. So it's always important to do it 1 week after. 1 week after. And the positioning in which you do it is to lay down flat, take your 3 index finger, go around. And as you get older and the more you do it, your fingers become so familiar to your breast tissue that if you feel a little bit of lump, you'll be able to pick it up. And for us, especially in Africa, early detection is everything. Our women are dying for the sheer lack of no knowledge. And because the early stages of breast cancer doesn't hurt, and we're conditioned to believe that when you're sick, there is pain, we wait for breast cancer to be painful until we go to the doctor. By then it's far too gone, and you're gonna die. Right. Period. There's no question about it.
Okay. So how long did it take for you to be considered cancer-free?
I think that in remission, it took me a good year and a half to go through my treatments, to go through reconstruction, to go through all of that. But I think that, again, the doctors in this country, I was privileged to have been here. Because honestly, had I lived in Ghana, I don't know if I'd be alive talking to you today. Wow. I truly don't know. And it's something I've asked myself over and over again. That's why Pink for Africa. Because I think women like me, having given their circumstances demographically where they're born, especially in Africa, and a lot of third world countries will not have the opportunity to share their stories. You're right. So it's important to be able to really drum education and the importance of early detection in our world.
And your mom recently passed away from breast cancer. If you could talk about that.
Certainly. It's a little fresh, so it's quite all right. But it's important. I think that, again, my mother became one of those statistics. She's my stepmom, but she's somebody who I don't even share she's my stepmom because she was so significant in my life. Wow. But my mother found her lump at least a year or two and didn't think it was anything. Wow. Hence, majority of our African women. She says she thought it was a lymph node. She thought she wasn't feeling well and so just a little lump had come in. And by the time she went ahead and we actually went to the doctors to actually have it tested and everything, she was stage 3. So that's a bigger battle to fight when you're living in an environment where a chemo treatment is $5,000. The average African woman makes what, $150 a month? Maybe even that. So you say $5,000 a chemo and I need 10 treatments. I'm grabbing my purse and I'm going home to dig my grave because the reality is I cannot afford it.
So that means that you spent thousands.
Yes, there's no question about it. My breast cancer was well over $200,000 by the time it was all said and done. But I fell under insurance. So insurance paid majority of it. But for the average woman who, again, lives in the world I grew up in and was born in and privileged to be a part of, does not get that opportunity. And so it's sad to say that as human beings, depending on where you're born and where you live, your chances of survival is so slim. It's really sad, you know?
It's very sad. What ignited the spark in you to found an organization like Pink for Africa?
I've always had a big mouth. I've always had. And I've always had a knack for people. I've always had a great connection with people. And I didn't start right away. I wanted to start when I felt well enough to be able to give my all. I'm somebody who, whatever I put my mind to, whatever I say I'm going to do, I'm going to do. I never back out. The minute I say it and it comes out of me, I'm going to follow through. So Pink for Africa was something that my clients encouraged me to do. Everybody kept saying, Jules, you have the gift of gab. You got to get in there and do this. And I always knew I wanted to do something. There's no question about it. But I wanted the timing to be right from my own experience. And literally going through chemo and in my quiet moments thinking, wow, had I never come to America, will I be alive today? Had I never come to America, will I be married with kids? Chances are likely. Had I never come to America, would I have made a lot of money? Chances are likely. Would I not have lived in America? Would I be alive today? I couldn't answer that. Hence Pink for Africa.
Wow, okay. So what inspired you to become such a successful entrepreneur? Because I know you have a bag line.
Yes, I do.
Is it Juice Collection?
It's Juice Collections.
Okay.
Juice Collections was given birth when I was going through chemo. I was literally bored.
Wow.
And wanted to do something. I was driving my husband crazy, driving everybody crazy in my house. And I was going through a magazine and saw pictures of handbags, and I've always loved handbags. And I was looking at the prices, I was like, you gotta be crazy, there's no way. So I started doing a bit of research and I just got swamped into the research. And that actually helped me kind of get away from me being sick. I felt I was contributing to something of my own, now starting something. Because of that, 20% of all the profits go to Pink for Africa. That's how Pink for Africa, part of the huge funding is from that. And women, I mean, I'm amongst women as a hairstylist, so what a way, you come to do your hair, you leave with a fabulous bag. Wow. And that's how it started.
Okay, well, I'm gonna come through my hair and leave with a fabulous bag.
There you go, there you go.
Okay, so is there anything you want to share with women out there who are going through breast cancer presently and those who have survived?
Absolutely. I really want to share the importance of self. And especially in our African community, there's so many stigmas that follow us, that riddle us, that stops us from really doing what is important for ourselves as women. So please, 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 out there, know that educating yourself on every health issue is important, especially breast cancer. Breast cancer is like a snake that crawls into your home without you knowing, and before you realize, it bit you. So please, my girls out there, remember, every information is on Pink for Africa. Anything I can do to help, I am always open. Since I started the organization, I've helped women with chemo who have flown either into this country to get it or have held their hand at some point, whether it was a late night phone call, whatever it is I can do to encourage you that you're going to get through it and there's a light at the end of that tunnel, I'm here. I am a sister who doesn't get stopped by anything. And that's the same heart I want to give to everybody. So by all means, check out pinkforafrica.org. If you're out there, for the men and women, donate, because this is your aunt, your grandmother, your cousin, your sister, all of them in one. So donate and add to the support of Pink for Africa.
Joining us is Mr. George Mills-Lutterodt. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
As I've asked your wife before, I just wanted to know, how did you feel when she had first told you that she has breast cancer?
It's a pretty good question. you try not to remember stuff like that.
Yeah, very depressing.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
it was the week of Valentine's Day, I think. Yeah, it was like Valentine's Day week, and I was out of town. And she called me to tell me about the results of her exam. Until you get home and see the person yourself, I wanted to come home and see her myself, see how she's feeling, and then maybe you calibrate how you react that way. Yeah.
Wow. So did you like pray with her? Like,
I think that's the first thing you do. You're right. You know, you pray for strength, pray for the right mindset, pray for the right doctor to show up, pray for this disease to be either false alarm
yeah.
or not serious enough to warrant, you know, a death sentence. And thankfully, we're in an environment where they took care of it, you know, so here we are.
Yeah, and I know that during that time as a mother, she has to take care of her children, you know, she has so many responsibilities. How are you able to like fit in and just do the things that she wasn't able to do? How were you able to juggle all that, like work, everything?
I have to tell you, work was the least of my concerns, because you could always figure out work. Work is very, you know, and luckily I'm with a company that's very flexible. So the minute I told them, you know, there's a personal situation, they found out what it was, they said, oh, go home and take care of her. You know, we'll figure out how to work from home. We'll scratch your travel schedule. So work was fine. The children, on the other hand, were a little more taxing because meal times is always stressful. You know,
So
well,
you
mom
had to
doesn't
cook?
make that. You know, when mom makes it, doesn't taste like that. You know, things like that. So they had to get used to my way of doing things, and now they're fine.
Now they're
Now
fine.
they're fine. Yeah.
Wow, that's
They were a little younger, but you know, they kind of figured out, you know, mom's not the same. So everyone rallied around and supported what we were trying to do, and they were very understanding. They're not picky. They're not difficult kids, so it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when she was considered cancer-free, did you guys celebrate? Like, what did you do?
So we had a 40th birthday party
The following
here.
year, okay.
Yes. And a party meant for 40, 50 close friends, mushroom to like 200 people here.
Opening
It just goes to show you a lot of people were like just wishing her well. So they weren't coming to just have a party, you know.
Yeah.
They came, wished her well, you know, hung out for a little bit and left. So it was great. It was great. It was what we call the black and white party. And everyone pretty much rejoiced that she was fine, yes.
Wow, okay. Well, thank you so much for standing by her. I know that was a very devastating and tough time for you, especially during your marriage, you know. Thank you for being a great husband. God bless you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. Yeah, God bless you guys.
Thank you.